Don't spend it on her. The sentence doesn't echo. It doesn't need to. It lands heavy enough to silence everything else in the room. Lena Carter hears it before she fully processes it. Before her brain catches up, her body already reacts, fingers tightening around the cold metal railing of the hospital bed, breath catching somewhere between her chest and her throat. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Her father said it. Right there, standing less than 3 feet from an 8-year-old girl who can barely move. Maya. Lena forces herself to look down. Her daughter's eyes are half open, unfocused. Her lips part slightly like she's trying to say something, but nothing comes out. The steady beeping of the monitor suddenly spikes, sharp and irregular, cutting through the room like an alarm no one wants to acknowledge. A nurse freezes mid-step. The doctor glances at the screen, then at Richard Carter. And then he hesitates. That's what makes Lena's stomach drop. Not the words, not even the cruelty, the hesitation. "Sir," the doctor says carefully, "without approval for the procedure." "You heard me," Richard interrupts, his tone calm, almost bored. "We're not throwing money at something that isn't worth it." Not worth it. Lena feels something inside her chest twist, tight, sharp, dangerous. But she doesn't argue, she doesn't scream, because this isn't new. This is how her father has always spoken, about investments, about people, about her. Everything has a value, everything has a limit, and once you cross it, you're cut off. Maya's small hand twitches weakly against the sheet. The monitor spikes again. The nurse looks at Lena now, not Richard, waiting. And that's when Lena understands something in a single, terrifying flash. If she stays silent now, this moment becomes permanent. Still, she doesn't raise her voice. Instead, slowly, deliberately, she reaches into her pocket. Her phone feels heavier than it should. She unlocks it with steady fingers, lifts her gaze, and in a voice so calm it almost doesn't sound like her. She says one sentence, a sentence that makes the doctor stop completely and look up. "This isn't the first time my dad decided what someone was worth." The thought moves through Lena's mind with unsettling clarity, cutting through the noise of the machines, the tension, the fear. Because this moment, this cold calculation standing at the edge of her daughter's life, didn't start here. It started years ago. Lena was 14 when she got pregnant. Most parents would have reacted with anger, panic, disappointment. Richard Carter reacted with numbers. "How much will this cost?" had been one of the first things he asked, not softly, not privately, but across the kitchen table like they were reviewing a business expense. From that day forward, everything became a transaction. Doctor visits? Logged. School changes? Calculated. Childcare? Itemized. "I'm helping you," he would say, "but you owe me." And Lena believed him, because what choice did she have? By the time Maya was born, Lena's entire life had been quietly folded into her father's control. The apartment she lived in? His property. The job she worked? At his accounting firm. Even her bank account had started as a joint setup, something he never fully stepped away from. Freedom was always just out of reach. And every time Lena thought about pushing back, she'd look at Maya, small, bright, laughing, and decide stability mattered more than pride. So she stayed quiet, learned the rules, survived inside them. But 2 weeks ago, everything changed. Maya collapsed at school. No warning, no explanation. One moment she was laughing with friends. The next, she was on the floor, unresponsive. The diagnosis came fast and heavy, a rare neurological condition. Serious, progressive, but treatable if they acted quickly. There was hope, real hope. At first, Richard paid without hesitation. Ambulance, admission, tests. But when the specialist outlined the next step, an expensive, high-risk treatment, something shifted. He started asking different questions. What are the success rates? What happens if we do nothing? Is there a cheaper alternative? Lena noticed the pattern immediately. This wasn't concern. This was evaluation. And today, standing beside Maya's bed, he made his decision. No treatment. Lena's chest tightens as she looks around the room again. The doctor isn't arguing. The nurse isn't intervening. Everyone is waiting, following his lead. And that's when it hits her. Sharp, cold, undeniable. This isn't just about money. Somehow, her father has positioned himself as the one in control. And unless she does something, no one here is going to stop him. What if the person controlling everything isn't supposed to be in control at all? The thought doesn't come gently. It hits Lena all at once, sharp, disruptive, impossible to ignore. The monitor beside Maya spikes again, faster this time, more erratic. Each sound feels like a countdown. The doctor shifts his weight, clearly uneasy now. His eyes flick between the screen, Lena, and then back to Richard, as if waiting for permission that shouldn't be his to give. Her condition is worsening, he says, voice lower, tighter. If we don't proceed soon, then we don't proceed, Richard cuts in, folding his arms. Calm, certain, like the decision is already finalized. Lena feels something crack, not outwardly, not visibly, but deep inside where years of silence have been stacked on top of each other. The nurse steps closer to the bed, adjusting something near Maya's IV, but her movements are slower now, hesitant. Everyone is hesitating, because everyone thinks Richard is in charge. Why? Lena's voice breaks the pattern. It's quiet, but it lands. The doctor looks at her, surprised. Why does he get to decide? She asks again, steadier this time. There's a pause, a real one. And for the first time, Richard doesn't immediately interrupt. Instead, the doctor answers carefully, choosing each word. He's listed as the financial guarantor, he says. Without approval for the procedure, I'm paying, Richard adds smoothly, which means I decide what's reasonable. That word again. Reasonable. Like this is a negotiation. Like Maya is a line item. Lena's hand tightens around her phone because that's not the full truth. Not anymore. 3 months ago, before any of this, she had started asking questions. Small ones at first. About her bank account. About the documents her father had her sign years ago. About what control he actually had versus what he said he had. The answers had surprised her, then unsettled her, then pushed her to act. Now, standing here, with Maya's life narrowing down to minutes, those decisions come rushing back with sudden, urgent clarity. Lena exhales slowly, steps forward, unlocks her phone with deliberate precision. Her thumb scrolls once, stops. Then she lifts the screen slightly, just enough for the doctor to see. Not pleading, not emotional. Focused. You might want to read this, she says evenly, holding his gaze, before you refuse treatment. The room stills again, but this time, it's different, because the balance is starting to shift. The doctor hesitates, then reaches for the phone, and Richard, for the first time, doesn't speak immediately. The doctor doesn't react right away. For a brief second, it looks like he might refuse, like he might hand the phone back and continue following the same path everyone is silently agreed on. Then his eyes drop to the screen, and everything shifts. The room goes unnaturally quiet, except for the uneven rhythm of Maya's monitor filling the gaps. Lena watches his expression change in real time. Confusion first, then focus, then something sharper, recognition. Where did you get this? He asks, his voice no longer uncertain, but precise. Filed it 3 months ago, Lena replies, just as steady, no hesitation, no doubt. Because she remembers that day clearly. A small legal aid office across town, a cramped desk, a woman who didn't look impressed by Richard Carter's name or reputation. Lena had gone in expecting to ask questions. Instead, she walked out with answers she couldn't ignore. Most of what her father controlled, her finances, her decisions, even parts of her access to housing, had been built on outdated agreements, documents signed when she was younger. Some of them no longer valid the moment she turned 21. Others, never fully enforceable to begin with. He hadn't needed them to be. Control, she learned, doesn't always come from legality. Sometimes it just comes from never being questioned. So she questioned it, and then she changed it. The document on the doctor's phone is clear. Revocation of financial guardianship. Termination of any prior medical decision authority. Filed, approved, active. Meaning, Richard Carter has no legal say here. None. The doctor lifts his gaze slowly, turning toward Richard. "Sir," he says, tone now firm, "this document indicates you are not authorized to make medical decisions for the patient." Richard lets out a short laugh, but it lands wrong, forced, thinner than before. "That's not," he starts but stops, because for the first time, he's being challenged with something he can't override with confidence alone. The nurse steps closer again, this time without hesitation. The shift is undeniable now. The room is no longer orbiting him. The doctor turns back to Lena, and in that moment, the entire weight of the situation settles into a single, clear question. "Are you the legal guardian?" "Yes," Lena answers immediately. No pause, no glance elsewhere. Just certainty. The doctor nods once, then asks the only thing that matters now. "Do you consent to the treatment?" Lena looks at Maya, small, fragile, still fighting through something she doesn't understand. Her grip tightens slightly, and this time, there is no silence. "Yes," she says. Everything happens at once. The stillness shatters. The doctor turns sharply, issuing rapid instructions. The nurse moves without hesitation now, adjusting lines, checking readings, calling for additional staff. The quiet uncertainty that filled the room just moments ago is gone, replaced by urgency, clarity, action. Maya's bed is unlocked and rolled out within seconds. "Prep the OR," someone says. Lena steps back instinctively as the team surrounds her daughter, but her eyes never leave Maya's face, not even as they disappear through the doors at the end of the hall. And just like that, she's alone. Not completely. Richard is still there, but for the first time in her life, his presence doesn't fill the space. "You think this changes anything?" he says, his voice low, controlled, but strained in a way she's never heard before. Lena doesn't respond, because for once, she doesn't need to. The answer is already unfolding. Hours pass slowly. Each minute stretches, heavy with uncertainty, but no longer helpless. When the doctor finally returns, his expression is different now, calm, composed. "The procedure was successful," he says. "We intervened just in time." Just in time. The words settle into Lena's chest, loosening something that's been tight for years. When she's finally allowed to see Maya again, the room feels quieter, softer. Maya's eyes open slowly. "Mom?" she whispers. Lena exhales, a shaky breath she didn't realize she was holding, and takes her hand carefully. "I'm here," she says. And this time, nothing interrupts her. The aftermath doesn't fade quietly. The hospital files a formal report documenting Richard's attempted interference. His authority is reviewed and dismissed completely under Lena's legal documentation. Within weeks, everything shifts. Lena meets again with the legal aid clinic. This time, she doesn't ask questions. She takes action. She separates her finances entirely, leaves her father's firm, secures independent housing, small, modest, but fully hers. Richard tries to push back at first. Calls, messages, even legal threats. None of them hold. Because without control, his influence collapses quickly. And people begin to notice. Family members who once stayed quiet start keeping their distance from him. Conversations change. Reputations shift. Not loudly, but permanently. One evening, weeks later, Lena sits beside Maya's bed in their new apartment. No machines, no tension, just quiet. Maya, stronger now, looks up at her. Are we okay now? She asks softly. Lena pauses, not because she doesn't know the answer, but because it feels unfamiliar. Then she nods. Yes, she says. No conditions, no calculations. And for the first time, that word means exactly what it should.